So Donald Trump's ambitions to be king, to be dictator, to be lord, to be ruler are looking realer and realer by the day. Donald Trump has now taken to Twitter, or Truth, basically both, to attack Charlamagne the God. Because Charlamagne went on Donald Trump's daughter-in-law's show on Fox News. Yes, the nepotism does in fact run that deep. And because Charlamagne did not properly glaze and slurp up Donald while he was on Laura Trump's zero-viewer show, Donald Trump took to Twitter to absolutely lose his mind just because Charlamagne the God did not give Donald Trump a 10 out of 10 rating for a job that Donald Trump doesn't even do. Donald Trump just got done screaming about fucking windmills and playing golf in Scotland like some kind of fucking... Actually, he is a fucking senior citizen, an old-ass, crazy-ass man. And now he's mad and angry because people are pretending like he's done an amazing job at a job that he refuses to even do. Watch.
All right, well, Charlamagne, I'm so honored to have you here. Thanks for coming on My View.
Laura, thank you for having me. You did Breakfast Club. I had to return the favor.
Yeah, we're trying to reciprocate. I appreciate that very
right.
much. So look, we're 6 months into President Trump's second term in office. Now, I know you've been critical. You've had your bones to pick with President Trump. If you took his name out of it and looked solely at what has happened, the policies and the things that have changed around the world and in our country over the first 6 months, how do you rate his presidency so far?
I wouldn't give it a good rating,
Why not?
Simply because, the least of us are still being impacted the worst. Like when you look at something like, the big, beautiful bill, that's something that, I'm going to benefit from because of the tax bracket that I'm in. But, there's going to be so many people that's hurt by that bill. And, anything that, takes away Medicaid from people and is going to put people in a worse financial situation than, they were previously in. I'm not for. And, he ran on that. Like, he ran on, the economy. He ran on saying that, grocery prices were going to be down. And,
That has happened.
No.
Inflation is trending down. And by the way, Medicaid, we want to make sure that people who are not actual recipients or shouldn't be getting Medicaid are off of Medicaid so it can actually benefit more people. There is good stuff in that bill, though. You have the 2017 tax cuts that are made permanent, and that really is for everybody.
She's just, this is family. It's like Game of Thrones, but like the crackhead version. Like, this is family run fucking media. It's unreal. And she's not even good at this shit. We don't want the brown people on Medicaid, and that's what makes it so much better for everyone. Mind you, undocumented immigrants, illegal immigrants, whichever term you want to use, were not receiving Medicaid. They just were not. This is not true. Donald Trump chose to go through with removing Medicaid for millions and millions of Americans all around the nation. And their scapegoat lie to explain it all away is we just got rid of the Medicaid for the brown people. Or if you ask Mike Johnson, we got rid of Medicaid for those lazy young men at home who don't work jobs, that stay home with mom and dad. Laura Trump has the audacity to speak about how inflation is trending down. Inflation is trending down? Your father-in-law wants inflation to spiral. The same dickhead who wants to instill unbelievably unnecessary and stupid tariffs and then demand that Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve lower the interest rates. Do you know what that would cause? It would cause massive inflation. How can you sit there and claim to be responsible for downtrending inflation, which is the work of Joseph Robinette Biden, not Donald Antichrist Trump? Biden's responsible for that. You take credit for it as the man who's currently in office is doing everything in his power to drive up the price of food. Donald Trump's tariffs on aluminum and steel are greatly going to impact everything. Aluminum is used for all sorts of food products. Once that pricing goes up, canned goods, bagged goods, foil, you name it, all of these goods that we rely on that we don't realize aluminum is used to either contain or produce, or the product itself is aluminum, all of those prices are going to skyrocket. They're going to go up. Donald Trump doesn't care. He does not care. I was live and did a video of a Trump supporter who makes honey in America. He makes honey. However, he imports his corks and bottles from abroad. Donald Trump's tariffs in and of itself make the honey more expensive because the honey has to be contained in some kind of bottle. It's not like you could just have the honey in your hand. You can't buy the honey from with just in your hand. Like, no, it needs to be contained in a bottle so you can properly distribute it on your pancakes or your oat, whatever the fuck you put honey on, okay? That right there, your toast or whatever it is y'all are doing nowadays, or your banana oat cereal or whatever, Donald Trump has ruined that for that man. That man can no longer sell honey at the price he's used to selling it at a customer-friendly price because his Lord and Savior, the man he voted for, got into office and ruined it all. Do you see the alternative history that Laura Trump, by the way, this is an individual who was drinking champagne while her child was crying right next to her on camera. These are like reptilian demonic creatures who now run this nation, destroying it, ripping it asunder, destroying everything, and then they sit down in front of you and tell you that everything's a-okay. If you removed his name from all of it and you just looked at what he was doing, like, do you think, you know what, actually, do that. Realize, recognize, and understand that what Donald Trump is doing is what the Conservative Party has always wanted to do. They hate the working class. They hate the middle class. Laura Trump finishes up the fucking absolute, like, I don't know, like, fucking, like, the cacophony of lies, the fucking, like, the unending lies. She sits there and says, those 2017 tax cuts, they're really for everybody. They're just like, I mean, I could sit here and say they're just lying, but you already know that though. The lying is unreal. These people are the princes and princesses of lies. They serve the devil. Imagine lying about the tax cuts. No, they do not apply to everyone. No, they do not. No, they do not. This is what you are dealing with. These niggas live in their own reality, and the unfortunate reality is that they've dragged like 25% of the country into said reality. 25% of the nation is under a genjutsu. Big facts. And this is what we're dealing with. But it gets worse, by the way, because Charlamagne brings up the Epstein files, and this is what causes Donald Trump to go absolutely insane.
I think that traditional conservatives are going to take the Republican Party back. I think there's a political coup going on right now in the Republican Party that people aren't paying attention to.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that this Epstein thing is going to be a way for traditional conservatives to take their party back. I really do. I think that they know this is the issue that has gotten the base riled up. The MAGA base isn't letting this issue go, and for the first time, they know they can, probably take their party back and not piss off the MAGA base. I think they're going to do that.
Now, there is no coup. At least I don't think there is a coup. If there is anything close to a coup, it's Rupert Murdoch and Elon Musk basically slow feeding the nation more and more information concerning Trump and Epstein. However, the Republican Party stands firmly by the side of Donald Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene will come out and call for the Epstein files to be released and play her little folksy, populist little position. But behind closed doors, when she thinks people aren't paying attention, what does she do? She votes to keep the files sealed. Marjorie Taylor Greene does not give a fuck about the Epstein files. The Republican Party does not give a fuck about the Epstein files. The Republican Party does not care about their own, getting their party back. They don't care about getting their own individual power back. They don't care about any of that. They care about instituting a white nationalist, Christo-fascist, psychotic, autocratic, monarchical state. That's what they care about. A feudalist society in which the highest ranking elite families rule the nation. That is what they care about. That is what they care about. The Republican Party have had multiple opportunities to get rid of Trump. God has come before this party and given them opportunity after opportunity to say, you know what? This is not our guy. They've ignored every single one. Donald Trump is on camera saying, I prefer people who weren't captured. That would have tanked anybody else's campaign, but it didn't for him because the Conservative Party deep down couldn't care less about our troops. They don't care about this nation. They don't care about anything besides race, gender. That's all they care about. Do we have the ability to oppress people we don't like? If the answer is no, morality, consistency be damned. Until we get the outcome we want, we care about nothing. That is the true nature of who these people are. Now let's read Donald Trump's absolutely unhinged, psychotic, and demonic rant in response to Charlamagne the God's perfectly reasonable commentary. The president, unfortunately, has to say this. The very wonderful and talented Laura Trump, because apparently she's wonderful and talented for marrying his ugly ass son, whose show is a big rating success, another lie, put racist sleazebag Charlamagne the God. Why is he allowed to use the word God when describing himself? Can anyone imagine the uproar there would be if I used that nickname? By the way, this is a man who put his own name on a Bible. This is a man who put his own name on a Bible. This is a man who called himself the chosen one while looking up at the sky. You cannot make this shit up. Like, this is an individual who truly believes himself to be worthy of a golden statue in the Holy Land. So while Donald Trump complains about Charlamagne having the word God in his name, keep in mind this is an individual who has all but basically declared himself God. He goes on to say that Trump goes on to say that Charlamagne is a low IQ individual, totally not racially motivated, has no idea what words are coming out of his mouth, and knows nothing about me or what I have done. Just like ending 5 wars, another lie, including a 31-year bloodbath between the Republic of the Congo and Rwanda, where 7 million people have died and there was no end in sight, another lie. He did not end that. He didn't know that. Or India or Pakistan, or wiping out Iran's nuclear capabilities. India and Pakistan have denied Donald Trump telling them what to do. Iran's nuclear capabilities are still existent. They still have the capacity to make a nuclear bomb, another lie. Or closing the horrendous open border, the border was never open, another lie. Or creating the greatest economy, this is the biggest, most egregious lie, where prices and inflation have come way down and where stupid and corrupt Joe Biden set the record for doing the worst job as president ever. But this dope, Charlamagne, would vote for Sleepy Joe or Kamala. Remember 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. This is a grown-ass fucking man typing this dumbass shit. So he goes on a racial attack by calling Charlamagne a low IQ individual. We know what that's all about. And he complains about Charlamagne using the nickname God. He claims to have ended 5 wars. He claims to have, like, this is what you're dealing with, bro. You are dealing with a prince of lies, a liar, a soldier of Satan. This man Trump is sick. He is psychotic, he is sick, he is mentally ill, and this nation can never, ever, ever heal or recover as long as this absolute, like, fucking lunatic is still in office. So as far as I'm concerned, Donald Trump, this nigga is going to bring about the end of this nation. Like, this is unreal. Donald Trump is beefing with the fucking Breakfast Club. Like, this is how low we have sunk as a nation. He's beefing with the fucking Breakfast Club. I can't make this shit stop, God, please.